I'm 26, female, and until recently, I thought I had a pretty great relationship with my older sister, who's 29. Growing up, we were close, but there was always this underlying competition between us. It wasn't anything malicious, at least, not at first. It was more like sibling rivalry. She was the ambitious one, the overachiever who had her life planned out since she was a kid. I was the more laid-back, go-with-the-flow type. If she got an A, I was fine with a B. If she trained for a marathon, I was happy cheering her on from the sidelines. But things started to change after I got engaged. It all began with what was supposed to be one of the happiest moments of my life. My boyfriend of 2 years, now fiancé, proposed to me completely out of the blue. We were at a park we love, and I thought we were just going for a regular Saturday picnic. Next thing I know, he's on one knee with a ring in his hand. It wasn't some big, dramatic proposal, no photographers hiding in the bushes or a flash mob, but it was perfect for us. I said yes, of course, and we decided to share the news with our families that same evening. We had a small family dinner planned anyway, so it seemed like the perfect opportunity. My parents, my sister, and her boyfriend were all there. Over dessert, I shared the news, showing off the ring while my fiancé stood beside me, grinning from ear to ear. My parents were thrilled, hugging us and asking a million questions about the proposal and when we were planning to get married. My sister, though, her reaction was weird. She congratulated us, but it felt forced. She gave me this quick, awkward hug and didn't ask a single follow-up question. For the rest of the night, she was quieter than usual, which isn't like her at all. I brushed it off at first, thinking maybe she'd had a long day or was just overwhelmed. But later that evening, as everyone was leaving, she pulled me aside. At first, I thought she was going to have a sweet, heartfelt sisterly moment with me, maybe something about how happy she was for me. Instead, she accused me of stealing her spotlight. Her exact words were, "Did you really need to rush into getting engaged? You knew I was waiting for my own proposal." I was stunned. Honestly, I had no idea what she was talking about. She'd been dating her boyfriend for 7 years, but she'd never once mentioned that she was expecting a proposal soon. I told her as much, but she just rolled her eyes and said she'd been dropping hints for months. If she had, I completely missed them. And it wasn't like my fiancé proposed with some grand scheme to overshadow her. He didn't know either. He just wanted to marry me. The conversation escalated quickly. She accused me of being selfish, of rushing into an engagement just to beat her to it. I kept trying to explain that wasn't the case, but she wasn't hearing it. At one point, she said, "You've always been the one who doesn't care about milestones, and now suddenly you care when it's my turn." That hurt. A lot. It felt like she was implying I didn't deserve to be happy or excited about my engagement because she hadn't gotten hers yet. Things got even messier when my parents overheard us arguing. They tried to step in and play mediator, but that only made things worse. My sister doubled down, saying she'd been talking about wedding plans for years, and now it felt like everything she'd envisioned was being overshadowed. My fiancé, who had stayed in the living room during all this, came over to check if I was okay. He looked so confused when he realized what was happening, and honestly, I didn't blame him. The whole situation felt surreal. That night, I barely slept. I kept replaying the argument in my head, trying to figure out where things went wrong. Was I really supposed to put my life on hold until my sister got engaged? How was I supposed to know she felt this way when she never explicitly said anything? My fiancé felt terrible too, like he'd inadvertently caused a rift between my sister and me. The next morning, things didn't get any better. My sister started posting vague, passive-aggressive things on social media. Stuff like funny how some people can't let others have their moment, and nothing hurts more than being blindsided by someone you love. Friends and extended family started messaging me, asking if something had happened between us. I didn't know how to respond without airing all our dirty laundry, so I just said we were working through some things. My parents suggested I give her time, and maybe hold off on planning anything wedding-related until she calmed down. But that didn't sit right with me. Why should I have to delay my happiness to appease her? At the same time, I didn't want to lose my sister over this. As the days went on, it became clear this wasn't going to blow over on its own. The tension between us only grew, and every interaction felt strained. My sister's boyfriend even apologized to me privately, saying he felt bad that his inaction had caused so much drama. Apparently, he'd been feeling the pressure to propose for a while but wasn't ready yet. That didn't make me feel any better, though. The damage was done. I decided to post on Reddit to get some outside perspective. I explained the situation and asked if I should delay my wedding plans to mend my relationship with my sister. The responses were mixed. Some people said she was being unreasonable, while others thought I might be downplaying how hurt she was. Honestly, I didn't know what to think anymore. All I knew was that what should have been the happiest time of my life was turning into a nightmare. Update 1. Anxiety. After my first Reddit post, the responses were all over the place. Some people were fully on my side, calling my sister unreasonable and jealous. Others felt I might not be seeing her perspective and could have handled things better. A few even suggested that maybe I was downplaying how much this engagement had hurt her. It gave me a lot to think about, but no clear answers on how to move forward. The situation with my sister only got worse from there. She started skipping family dinners and gatherings if she knew I was going to be there. At one point, my mom invited both of us for coffee to clear the air, but my sister declined at the last minute, claiming she had other plans. It was becoming obvious she wanted nothing to do with me. My parents, bless them, tried to help, but they ended up making things worse. They suggested I postpone my engagement party just until things settled down and told me to be the bigger person. That stung. It felt like they were siding with her, even though I hadn't done anything wrong. I refused to delay the party. It wasn't a huge event, just close friends and family, and everything was already booked. My fiancé agreed that we shouldn't have to rearrange our lives because of her behavior. The party happened a few weeks later, and honestly, I was nervous about how it would go. My sister showed up late, and when she did, she looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. She barely talked to anyone, didn't smile for pictures, and spent most of the evening glued to her phone. I tried to include her in conversations, but it was like talking to a wall. Then came the toast. My fiancé gave a sweet, heartfelt speech thanking everyone for being there and sharing how excited he was for our future together. As soon as he finished, my sister chimed in with a sarcastic comment about how some people just love being the center of attention. It was loud enough for everyone to hear, and the room went silent for a second before someone nervously laughed and changed the subject. My fiancé was livid but kept his cool. After the party, he told me we needed to start setting boundaries because this wasn't fair to us. I agreed, but I didn't know how to enforce that without making things worse. Later that week, my sister's boyfriend pulled me aside at a different family event. He apologized for how things had been going and admitted he was feeling a lot of pressure from her to propose. Apparently, she'd been pushing him to step up ever since my engagement, and it was causing tension in their relationship too. I felt bad for him, but didn't know what to say. It wasn't my fault, but it seemed like I was somehow at the center of all their problems. I tried to keep my wedding planning as low-key as possible after that. I didn't post anything about it on social media and avoided bringing it up around my sister. Even so, rumors started to reach me. Friends told me my sister was making comments about how I'd stolen her moment and how the whole engagement felt calculated. One even told me my sister thought my fiancé proposed on purpose to overshadow her. That one hurt the most because it wasn't true at all. The final straw came when my sister posted a cryptic message in our family group chat about being betrayed by the people you're supposed to trust the most. It sparked a massive argument. My dad asked what she was talking about, and she went off about how I was selfish and had ruined everything for her. My mom chimed in, asking me to apologize to keep the peace. At that point, I suggested we all try family therapy because it was clear we weren't going to resolve this on our own. My sister refused, saying I just wanted to play the victim and make her look bad. That night, I posted a second update on Reddit. I explained everything: the engagement party drama, the group chat blow-up, the rumors, and the rejected therapy idea. I asked if I should pause my wedding planning entirely to focus on fixing my relationship with my sister. This time, the responses were overwhelmingly supportive. People told me I'd done everything I could and that it wasn't my responsibility to cater to her insecurities. Some even suggested I go no contact for a while to protect my own happiness. I haven't made any big decisions yet, but I'm leaning toward continuing with my plans and letting things play out however they will. As much as I want to fix things with my sister, I can't keep putting my life on hold. It's clear she's not ready to meet me halfway, and I'm starting to think she might never be. Update 2. After my second Reddit post, I started getting a lot of supportive messages urging me to stand my ground. It was reassuring to know people thought I wasn't crazy for wanting to enjoy my engagement. But in real life, things were escalating faster than I could keep up with. One day, completely out of the blue, my sister reached out to me directly. She hadn't spoken to me in weeks, so I was surprised. But this wasn't an olive branch. She gave me an ultimatum. If I didn't push back my wedding date, she wouldn't come. According to her, I'd already ruined her engagement timeline, and she couldn't handle the stress of having 2 weddings so close together. I told her I wasn't going to delay my plans, and that's when she doubled down, saying I was choosing a wedding over family. Word of the ultimatum quickly spread to my parents. They immediately called me, asking me to reconsider. My dad went on about how hard this was for my sister, and my mom reminded me how close we'd been growing up. It felt like they were blaming me for everything. My fiancé overheard the conversation and stepped in, calmly telling my parents that this wasn't fair to either of us. He made it clear we weren't changing our plans and that they needed to support us instead of pressuring me to keep the peace. Things only got messier from there. A few mutual friends tried to mediate, thinking they could help us find common ground. Instead, it backfired spectacularly. One friend arranged a sit-down meeting with me and my sister, which quickly turned into another argument. My sister brought up every perceived slight from our childhood to now, claiming I'd always tried to one-up her. The friend tried to redirect the conversation, but it was pointless. We left more frustrated than before. Around this time, my sister's boyfriend finally proposed. It was a small, private proposal, no big fanfare, just the 2 of them at home. They announced it on social media with a simple photo of her hand and the caption, "Finally engaged to the love of my life." The comments section quickly filled up with congratulations, but there were also a few side eyes from people who knew about the drama. One mutual friend commented, "Wow, 2 sisters engaged at the same time. What are the odds?" It was clear she wasn't happy with the timing. Not long after, my sister started comparing every detail of our engagements. She told anyone who would listen how my fiancé had gone overboard with the ring, while her boyfriend's proposal was intimate and meaningful. At family dinners, she would make little digs about how some people need a show to feel special. She also began posting cryptic messages on Instagram about fake family loyalty and how real love doesn't need an audience. Everyone knew they were directed at me, but I didn't respond. The family rift widened. Some relatives started openly siding with my sister, saying she'd waited her turn and deserved her moment in the spotlight. Others supported me, insisting I shouldn't have to pause my life for her. It got so bad that even extended family members were weighing in. A few aunts messaged me privately, telling me to be patient with my sister because she was just emotional. It felt like I couldn't win no matter what I did. In the middle of all this, I started noticing strange issues with my wedding vendors. One of my bookings, a florist, called to confirm that I'd canceled my order. I hadn't. Thankfully, I was able to rebook, but then a second vendor mentioned receiving a call from someone claiming to be me, asking about cancellations. It didn't take long to put 2 and 2 together. I didn't have proof, but it felt like my sister was behind it. I decided to confront her directly. She denied everything, of course. She even acted offended, saying she'd never stooped that low. But when I asked for an apology, she refused, saying I was just trying to paint her as the villain. That conversation ended with more tension than ever. After that, I went back to Reddit for advice. I explained the ultimatum, the sabotage attempts, and how divided my family had become. The responses were overwhelmingly on my side. People told me I needed to start setting firmer boundaries and protect my happiness. Some even suggested going low contact with my sister and anyone enabling her behavior. For now, I've decided to focus on my wedding plans and let the chips fall where they may. My fiancé has been my rock through all of this, reminding me that we're building a future together, and that's what matters most. But as things stand, I'm not sure if my sister will be a part of that future. I never thought it would come to this, but here we are. Update 3. Things reached a boiling point after the vendor sabotage incident. My fiancé and I decided we couldn't just keep ignoring the chaos my sister was creating. We organized a family meeting to try and address everything head-on. My parents, sister, and her fiancé came over to my house one weekend, and I laid it all out. Her ultimatum, the rumors, the cryptic posts, and the calls to my vendors. I didn't accuse her directly, but I made it clear that someone was actively trying to disrupt my wedding. Predictably, my sister denied everything. She acted shocked and said she had no idea what I was talking about. She claimed I was overreacting and blaming her for things out of my control. When I brought up the social media posts, she shrugged and said they weren't about me, even though it was painfully obvious they were. My fiancé backed me up, pointing out the timing of everything, but it didn't matter. My parents immediately jumped in to defend her. They told me I needed to let it go and stop making accusations without proof. My mom even went so far as to say I was creating drama by calling the family meeting in the first place. I couldn't believe it. Here I was, trying to fix things, and they were acting like I was the problem. My sister sat there with her arms crossed, not budging an inch. The meeting ended with no resolution, and everyone left more upset than they were when they arrived. In the weeks following, things got even worse. Mutual friends started distancing themselves from both of us. Some said they didn't want to take sides, while others clearly leaned toward my sister, believing her version of events. I started hearing whispers about how I was obsessed with being the center of attention and couldn't handle sharing the spotlight. One friend even stopped responding to my messages altogether, which hurt more than I'd like to admit. My fiancé, thankfully, was my rock through all of this. He told me I didn't need to put up with this kind of behavior from anyone, even family. He encouraged me to consider cutting ties with my sister entirely, at least until after the wedding. It wasn't an easy decision, but I started to seriously think about uninviting her. I knew her presence would only add stress, but part of me still felt guilty about taking that step. Meanwhile, my sister escalated her social media campaign. She began making direct accusations, calling me out as a bully who was trying to ruin her happiness. Her posts were full of vague details, but anyone who knew us could connect the dots. I blocked her on all platforms to avoid seeing the posts, but screenshots started rolling in from mutual friends. It was exhausting. Then, the bomb dropped. An anonymous person, likely someone in my sister's circle, sent me screenshots of a private group chat where she was ranting about me. In the messages, she accused me of orchestrating my engagement to overshadow hers, called me toxic, and even joked about how funny it would be to sabotage my wedding. She didn't outright admit to making the vendor calls, but the tone was enough to make me wonder. I forwarded the screenshots to my parents, hoping it would finally open their eyes. Instead, they brushed it off, saying she was just venting, and that I should be the bigger person. It was the same excuse they'd been using all along, and I was tired of it. In an effort to find some kind of resolution, I suggested family therapy again. My parents were open to it, but my sister flat out refused. She said she didn't need therapy because she wasn't the one causing problems. That was the last straw for me. I decided I couldn't keep bending over backward to fix a relationship that she clearly didn't want to mend. Despite all the chaos, wedding planning moved forward. My fiancé and I finalized our venue, caterer, and photographer, and we even booked our honeymoon. It felt good to check things off the list, like we were finally making progress. But just as I started to feel some relief, my sister announced her wedding date, set for the same month as mine. Her announcement came with a lot of fanfare on social media. She posted a series of pictures with captions like, "Can't wait to marry my soulmate." And sometimes patience really does pay off. It didn't take long for people to start comparing our weddings. Extended family began asking why we'd scheduled our dates so close together, and I overheard comments about how it would be so interesting to see whose wedding was better. I went back to Reddit with another update, sharing everything that had happened, the failed family meeting, the vendor sabotage, the group chat messages, and the competing wedding dates. This time, my post blew up. Hundreds of people commented, sharing similar experiences with difficult family dynamics. Many of them told me I was doing the right thing by holding my ground and focusing on my happiness. The support was overwhelming, but it also made me realize just how toxic this situation had become. I still haven't decided if I'll uninvite my sister, but at this point, it feels like there's no way to salvage our relationship. My fiancé and I are determined to move forward and make our wedding a day to remember, no matter what obstacles come our way. Update 4. After my sister announced her wedding date, just 2 weeks before mine, it felt like the drama went into overdrive. The announcement caused chaos in the family. Relatives started reaching out saying they couldn't afford to attend both weddings because of travel costs and time off work. Some tried to diplomatically ask if either of us would consider rescheduling, but most of those comments were directed at me. Apparently, because I got engaged after my sister, I was the one who should step aside. Not long after, I received a direct message from my sister. She accused me of forcing family members to choose between us and implied that my decision to keep my wedding date was selfish. It wasn't just her usual passive-aggressive jabs either. This time, it was a full-blown attack. My fiancé saw the message before I could even respond. He told me he'd had enough of her behavior and took it upon himself to step in. He wrote her a calm but firm response, asking her to stop turning the situation into a competition and to respect our decisions. Instead of calming things down, this only made things worse. My parents called me later that night, clearly upset. They told me my sister was in tears and accused me of trying to gang up on her with my fiancé. My mom doubled down on her usual stance, insisting that my sister deserved her moment because she'd waited longer to get engaged. My dad echoed her sentiments. adding that I should just compromise for the sake of family. I refused, explaining, again, that we weren't moving our wedding date. Amid all this, the vendor trouble started up again. My photographer called to confirm a supposed cancellation request. Thankfully, they reached out before taking any action, and I managed to sort it out. But the whole situation felt eerily familiar. I couldn't prove it was my sister, but the timing was suspicious. A few of my closest friends rallied to help me rebook anything affected and reassured me that I wasn't imagining things. Their support was one of the few things keeping me grounded through all the chaos. Meanwhile, rumors about my sister's wedding planning started circulating. Mutual friends mentioned that she was struggling to nail down key details. Her venue wasn't confirmed yet, and there was talk of issues with catering. Despite this, she found time to keep stirring the pot. During a family dinner, she openly questioned whether she should even invite me to her wedding. She said it would save everyone the awkwardness since things were already so tense between us. My parents, of course, stayed silent, while other family members shifted uncomfortably and changed the subject. As if that wasn't enough, a major extended family member, our grandmother, declared she would only attend my wedding. She told my parents privately that she didn't like how my sister had handled things and felt I'd been more respectful throughout the drama. This news got back to my sister, and she was furious. She started venting about it on social media again, posting things like some people just can't let others have their happiness, and loyalty isn't about blood, it's about who stands by you. I stayed quiet through all of this, despite friends encouraging me to respond publicly or defend myself. I didn't want to feed into the drama, especially on such a public platform. Still, it was hard not to feel the weight of her constant attacks. I figured it was only a matter of time before she escalated things again. A mutual friend tried to organize another truce meeting between us, thinking we just needed to clear the air face to face. It didn't go well. My sister spent the entire time bringing up old grievances and twisting everything to make me look like the villain. She accused me of intentionally overshadowing her and claimed I was obsessed with being the favorite. By the end of the meeting, it was clear there was no resolving this. Despite all this, I made one last attempt at family therapy. I reached out to a counselor and scheduled a session, hoping this time would be different. It wasn't. My sister walked out halfway through, accusing me of only doing this to look good. After that, I decided I was done trying to fix things. As wedding planning continued, my fiancé and I made big strides. We finalized our guest list, confirmed all our vendors, and picked out our wedding favors. It felt good to check things off the list, even with all the tension in the background. At the same time, I couldn't ignore the comparisons being made between our weddings. People kept speculating about whose would be better or more memorable, as if this were some kind of competition. I shared another update on Reddit, laying out all the recent drama, the competing dates, the vendor issues, the failed truce meeting, and my sister's latest social media posts. This post went viral almost immediately, but hundreds of people shared their thoughts and personal stories about similar family conflicts. The overwhelming advice was to focus on my own happiness and stop trying to accommodate someone who clearly wasn't interested in reconciliation. Reading the comments gave me some much-needed clarity. At this point, I'm focusing on my wedding and my future with my fiancé. I don't know what the long-term outcome will be with my sister, but for now, I'm choosing to let her actions speak for themselves. My priority is making our wedding day as special as possible, no matter what she throws at us next. Update 5. 2 weeks before my wedding, my sister's wedding day arrived. It was a whirlwind of family activity, with most relatives traveling and attending her event. Her wedding was a large, traditional ceremony, elaborate decor, a huge guest list, and all the bells and whistles you'd expect. I attended, not because I wanted to, but because skipping it would have caused even more family drama. My fiancé and I stayed in the background, avoiding any unnecessary attention. The ceremony itself went smoothly, but the reception felt tense. My sister spent most of the evening surrounded by her friends and barely acknowledged me. At one point, she gave a toast that started out sweet but quickly took a turn. She mentioned how patience and perseverance were key to real love and how some people rush into things for the sake of appearances. It was obvious to anyone listening that she was taking a dig at me. The room grew awkwardly quiet until someone clapped to move things along. After the wedding, my sister's social media was flooded with pictures and captions like, "Finally, my day," and the happiest moment of my life, surrounded by real love. While I blocked her accounts to avoid seeing her posts directly, screenshots came pouring in from friends and extended family. It was clear she was trying to draw a line between her wedding and mine, framing hers as the more genuine celebration. As my wedding day approached, I started noticing subtle comparisons from family members who had attended both events. Comments like, "Oh, your sister's dress was so elegant," or "Your venue is nice, but her reception hall was breathtaking." It felt like everyone was keeping score, and I was already losing. Still, I focused on getting through the day and making it as special as possible for me and my fiancé. On the day of my wedding, the first sign of trouble was my sister's late arrival. She showed up just before the ceremony, wearing a white floor-length dress. When my maid of honor politely mentioned the color choice, she shrugged it off, saying she didn't realize it was inappropriate. Everyone noticed, but I decided to ignore it and focus on the ceremony. My fiancé later told me he almost stepped in but didn't want to escalate things on our big day. During the reception, my sister gave another toast. This one started off sounding like a typical speech, but it quickly turned into a backhanded compliment marathon. She talked about how it's great to see my sister finally settling down and how every bride deserves their moment, even if it's not the first one in the family. Guests were visibly uncomfortable, and my fiancé pulled her aside afterward to ask her to stop stirring up drama. From what he told me later, she brushed him off, claiming it was just a joke. The final straw came during the group photos. While we were posing for family pictures, my sister made another snide comment about how my dress was simple but cute, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. I held it together for the rest of the photos but broke down crying in private with my maid of honor. She reminded me that my wedding wasn't about my sister, and that most people could see through her behavior. That gave me the strength to finish the evening with a smile, but the damage had already been done. After the wedding, I started hearing from guests about how my sister had spent much of the reception gossiping. She'd been telling people that I'd intentionally scheduled my wedding close to hers and had made passive-aggressive comments about my choices. When I confronted my parents about her behavior, they dismissed it again, saying she was just emotional because of the stress of her own wedding. They even implied I should apologize for misinterpreting her intentions. Then came the final blow on social media. My sister posted a cryptic story about how not all family deserves loyalty, tagging a few mutual friends in the post. That was the last straw. I blocked her on everything and decided to step away from the drama entirely. In the weeks that followed, I started attending individual therapy to process everything that had happened. My therapist helped me see that I couldn't control my sister's actions, but I could set boundaries to protect myself. My fiancé suggested going completely no contact with her, at least for a while. I wasn't sure if I was ready to take that step, but it was becoming clear that staying in touch was only causing more pain. I posted a final update on Reddit, sharing the details of both weddings, the sabotage attempts, and the ongoing family tension. The response was overwhelmingly supportive. People encouraged me to focus on my new life with my husband and to stop trying to fix a relationship that my sister clearly wasn't interested in mending. Many shared similar stories of cutting ties with toxic family members and said it was the best decision they'd ever made. For now, I'm prioritizing my happiness and my marriage. My husband and I are planning our honeymoon, and I'm looking forward to starting this new chapter without the constant weight of family drama. Whether or not I decide to go no contact with my sister permanently, one thing is certain: I'm done letting her actions overshadow my life.